Okay, it's 8:30. I'll declare this meeting of Te Puna Kōrero of the 5th of October 2023 open. Welcome everybody. I'd like to invite Councillor Hayward to lead us in the karakia, please.
Kia ora koutou, toru whā, whakatakata hau ki te uru, whakatakata hau ki te tonga, kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā tātara ki tai. E hi ake ana, te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, tihei, mauri ora. Go the Black Caps.
Thank you, Councillor Hayward. All right, let's move to the second item on the agenda, which is apologies. We have an apology from Taku Parai and also Councillor Philo, who will be joining us, I think, at some stage. Yep. All right, public forum, we have no items for public. Oh, sorry, I'll move that those apologies be accepted. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Hayward. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Right, public forum, there is no one to speak at a public forum. Item 4 is conflict of interest declarations. Are there any conflicts of interest that anyone wishes to declare? Looking around the table, there are none. And item 5, moving on, notification of extraordinary business. There are no items to cover here either. So that moves us to item 6, which is the confirmation of the minutes of Te Puna Kōrero of the 21st of September 2023. I'll move Councillor Duncan, I've moved him. Councillor Duncan has seconded those minutes. He was quick, Josh. Yep. Are there any corrections, alterations to the minutes that anyone has seen? No? In that case, sorry, Councillor Trillin.
So I just want to confirm that the spelling of the speaker in public forum at item 3 of his name is correct. Yep.
It is?
Okay, cool. Never mind. All good?
Confirmed. In that case, I'll now put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. So this moves us to the first of the items on our agenda, which is item 7.1, which is the growth strategy for 2053. I'm going to move the report to open it for discussion. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Trillin, thank you very much. I'm going to take it as read, but I'm going to ask officers, Kieran, you want to come up and just very briefly remind us about what this is about, because we have looked at this a number of times and it's a key input into our long-term planning for next year.
Kia ora. The original growth strategy was developed in 2018 to provide a vision of growth for Porirua to inform the development of our proposed district plan. The proposed district plan is close to being operational, and it's time for us to prepare for the steps in our growth journey. The environment has also changed in the last 5 years. Investment across the city has grown, both private developments, government investment, and the role of Ngāti Toa as a developer and manager of social housing. Transmission Gully has opened, and there's been significant legislative change, particularly the National Policy Statement on Urban Development and the RMA and Three Waters reforms. Council's response to climate change has evolved over the last 5 years, and at the same time, the housing crisis has worsened. Despite these changes and challenges, the long-term vision and principles of the growth strategy remain valid. The refresh isn't about starting from scratch, but preparing council for the next phase of growth. It doesn't answer all of the questions. It provides high-level direction that informs the work that we do to enable growth. The strategy sits across council and will be delivered through many different work areas. We have added a section under each principle outlining the key pieces of work we are currently working on or plan to work on that will support each principle. Since the workshop in August, we've made some minor changes, including translating the principles into te reo. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Karen. Are there any questions, councillors, that you wish to ask of officers? Yes, Councillor Hayward.
2 questions. First one, ngā mihi kia koe hia mana, mihi kanahita katoa. Thank you for the report. Before I ask my question, I just want to also say that thank you for the inclusion of updating our document to reflect our bicultural relationship with Ngāti Toa, the terminology around the principles. As to the phrasing in here about controlling growth, what I guess a layperson might see that as a potential abrogation of all responsibility by council in regards to controlling growth, where we do actually have some levers. What that point is trying to define is we can't control individual choices by consumers or developers about whether they develop or build here in Porirua. Would that be accurate in saying so?
Yes, I think there is a balance we tried to achieve with the strategy between what council can and should be trying to achieve with the fact that we can't control everything. And as I say, the strategy is trying to point to those high-level principles for growth. The more detailed discussions and decisions are a level below it, and I think that's where a lot of those trade-offs and decisions will be made.
Okay. Second question. With regards to the top-level approach of the council, what role will the community and us as elected representatives have in playing out the priorities around meeting those targets around additional housing through densification as opposed to greenfields development? A particular issue for us as our footprint in the city is becoming more and more constrained with the limited options left to us, but furthermore, that it is also perhaps economically rational to look at densification as a higher priority, even with the expectations set by central government?
Yeah, that's a tough question. The growth strategy, it sets out those principles, and there will be times where they are competing. I can't speak to the individual projects or work streams where they all have to be discussed, but there will have to be times where council needs to make decisions that balance those priorities where they can't all be satisfied.
No more questions.
Answer your questions, Councillor Hammond. Yeah, good questions, and I guess they'll be played out in the future as we grapple with many of these issues. Are there any other questions, councillors? Councillor Trillin.
For me, not a question, just a comment, just to say wholeheartedly endorse this. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really future focused. It paints a really positive vision for our city. There's significant overlap and synergy between those 6 principles. It'll be no surprise that I'm focused in particular on what we have around resilience and adaptation, specifically in relation to climate. But I'm really glad that we're also focusing on growth that will result in lower emissions, better affordability, and developing Porirua in a way that will create a city that we all really want to live in. So yeah, I think this is great, excellent work, 100% support.
Councillor Trillin. Councillor Duncan.
Yeah, look, a comprehensive piece of work, all right, real good detail, and thanks very much for it. Just on page 22 or 34 of the document there, we've got a picture of an artist's impression of Mana Esplanade post-revocation. I thought there was no revocation attached to the Esplanade.
The artist impressions, they were from the original growth strategy, and we're not putting them in there as a commitment for what it will look like. It's just some ideas of what, not specifically Mana Esplanade, but potentially Porirua could look like.
So that'll be removed from that document, will it?
If we can do that.
Well picked up, Councillor Duncan. Has this opened the floodgates, or is this the end of the questions? All right. Yeah, very comprehensive, and I agree with comments from Councillor Trillin and Councillor Hayward. Taken as a given, Councillor Duncan. All right, I'm now going to put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you very much, everybody. That moves us to item 7.2, which is Porirua City Council Transport Bylaw. I'll now move that report to get it onto the table. Yep, seconded by Councillor Ford. Thank you. Gauschwitz, can you come and sit up? I'll just ask, just in case there are any questions, and I'll ask Mr. Dalziel to give us some.
Thank you, Chair. The report's just to tidy up, as we've said in the report, these yellow lines are in place. When you put yellow lines in place, you're supposed to have a council resolution at the same stage. So a tidy up in the sense that Gauschwitz been working through and he can't actually see the council resolution for these specific places. So to legalise the situation, we want you to agree to the recommendations and pass it on to council. It just tidies up the whole situation should we ever have a dispute over a parking ticket in one of these areas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions? Councillor Hayward?
Kia ora no. Thank you for the report. I am trying to understand why we have a situation for another term, because I've raised this in the previous term, where council is being asked to retrospectively approve changes to the bylaw for yellow lines that have been installed by either directly by council or by the contractors on behalf of council. And can we get some clarity as to why this situation has occurred again?
I think it's just, or through the chair, I think it's just that as staff go through, every time they find something, they've got an obligation to package it up and bring it to you to get it legalised. So we're hopeful that we won't find too much more. But I have said to you on rural roads around the city, some of the signs that are up there, there's no legislation around them. We've never done it at the time. So at some stage we'll have to get into that and put some resource into it. So I guess it's a resourcing thing, but I've asked Gauschwitz before, you think you're just about at the end of it, but if you find some more, you'll be bringing it.
Yes, so this one is 18 months work, and what has happened in the past, I think in the last term or so, is the whole bit was not brought forward, so that's the problem. So this one addresses all the 18 months work. So if there is anything missed, so I think it's very less chance, but moving forward, any new projects which has yellow line through workshops which has been agreed will be bylawed while it's fresh. So that's the idea.
Sub to that, I guess I think I had that assurance in the previous term and was labouring under that, and it seems that's a misapprehension. So what do you say to members of the public who say, if the council can't even follow its own rules, why should we follow the council's rules?
Is that a question that requires a response, or?
Up to their officers to respond as it sees fit, and then I'll judge whether or not they require another supplementary.
I will respond. I'm just going to repeat what has been said, though. We are doing our best to tidy up. The rules are the rules. The resolutions go through. It's the bylaw catch-up that we're trying to match, though, the intent, and sometimes lines have been put in. But, and I think you hear not a complete assurance that we won't come back again. We're saying if we find more, we will come back again. So we are doing our best to make sure that these processes are tidy. But I didn't hear a complete assurance that we wouldn't come back again. In fact, I heard that we will be coming back about some rural roads, so and signage. So we are doing our best in that space, and we're more confident going forward than we are in the about what we will find currently. So that's not an assurance, but we can only do our best.
Councillor Trillin.
Thank you. Yeah, so just to clarify from that, am I correct in understanding, looking at the paper here, these are largely lines that have been in effect for quite a while already and perhaps reflect a previous or historic approach by the council that we are no longer taking in terms of maybe some of these being installed before they should have been, whereas now you're saying that we're doing everything much more by the book. So we've improved our process. Am I correct in understanding that?
Yes, and these ones are already there. So the yellow lines are already there in place. So
Cool, perfect, thank you.
Councillor Ford, you had a...
Yes, along the same lines, I just want to double down and get assurance that no further yellow lines will go in unless they've come through the process, as in coming via council.
Yes, that's the understanding. It's only if we find something historical, something's brought to our attention, or we find it where we think we've got an obligation to bring it up and get it sorted out rather than hide it in the organisation. So that's what we're doing here.
And we do recognise that we have been getting packages of those and have been approving them before they happen. Right. Councillor Duncan.
Yeah, just passes through my mind. Would there have been traffic offence tickets issued for these areas, and would they have been valid at the time?
Through you, Chair, I can answer that.
Yep. Nick.
Through you, sorry, yes, I can answer that. So the short answer is yes, there have been tickets issued, up to 116 over the last 5 years, of which the majority, 74, have been at Hoff's Place. So we won't go out proactively on those tickets, but if they come into us, we will deal with them on a case-by-case basis. And if we need to recompense those people, we will do that.
Any further questions, councillors? That's the case. I'm now going to put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried. Thank you. And thank you, Kaushik. Thank you. Very good. I'll note that we'll do our closing karakia at the end of the workshop. And so on that basis, I now close the meeting at 8:47 a.m. Thank you very much, councillors. We'll move into workshop.